Today I'm going to be installing the Auxbeam Switch. All of the bracketry and components, I guess, some of which I designed or fabricated into the new Tacoma. Now, they've put so much stuff in here that it's a little bit of a struggle to figure out where to put it, right? I've done it before where I've drilled holes through the top of the fuse box here, the cover, and mounted it with screws underneath. Didn't really like that idea. You know, this is the electrical system of your truck, and I didn't want a chance getting water in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to run everything from the battery over here to this nice void that we have, and I made a brackets to fit the, I guess, the guts of the system, the fuse box, if you will, where everything hooks into for the system. And I'm going to make a cable because it's got to be about 7 feet long to go from here around there and over to the fuse breaker, or the breaker that I'm going to put in on that side by the battery. Now, of course, everything is connected to the switch right here, or the control panel. Fits in here nicely. I went ahead and got an aftermarket bracket for it. This came, I think it was Tacoma Lifestyle, if I'm not mistaken. Auxbeam, of course, there'll be a link down below where you can pick this up. But it fits in here nicely. I like it. Now, first things first, I've got to go ahead, or I'm going to go ahead and mount the circuit breaker. And that's what we've got right here. This is a bracket that I made. And where it's going to go is right here between the battery and the fuse box, bolted down with this bolt right here, and it's going to come up and sit across. That's where all my electrical connections to the battery are going to be made. All right, we've got that all in. You guys can see right here, again, just held by that bolt right down there, and I think it looks pretty good. Of course, I did paint this stuff red to kind of match the truck. I wanted a little bling under the hood, so I'm going to go ahead and release the, or trip the circuit, by the way. There you go. See how that works? It's on when it's over. It's off when you push it. That's it. Plus the gauge of the material, you want to make sure that you use something thick enough so it doesn't bounce around a lot and gives you a little bit of resistance when you push, like releasing this cable here, or fuse rather, or circuit. Anyway, that takes care of that. Now we've got to go to the other side, and this is the cover for it. I'll just loosely put it on there for now. And over here, of course, is where we're going to mount the fuse box, if you will. If you haven't seen that before, got all our hardware here. It looks like this. And it's going to sit something like that so that I have full access to everything that I need. Should be pretty good. Before we go ahead and mount the tray over here, it's a good idea, with everything nice and open and out of your way, to mount your trigger wire. Now, what a trigger wire means is that the system doesn't get power unless the truck is running, and you can get it through, right through here, without having to damage your box or anything. Live and learn. Before, I've drilled holes through here. You don't need to. If you just pull this cover back a little bit, you can get it right in that tunnel that goes into the fuse box anyway. Much, much simpler. And you can do that with any kind of wiring, right? Now, here's the wire. It's going to come up and go to an add a fuse, which looks like this. It's actually, I think, this one with the smaller end. Take that cover off, of course. So go ahead and splice this onto that wire, and then I'm going to connect mine to fuse number 10, which is right here. It's a 10 amp fuse. It's the second row in. This is on the driver's side, and it would be the 1, 2, 3, 4th right above the yellow 20 amp fuses here. So if you're looking for a spot, this is what I've used before. It's the INJ fuse, and I've never had any issues using this one. A lot of times people will have problems with the truck cycling, which it does, meaning it'll be powered up here and there, and then your accessories, or in this case my Auxbeam panel, would be on for a period of time. I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead, wire this up, and then we'll move on to the mounting of the box here. Let's bring you guys up to speed here. We've got the brackets installed. We've got the Auxbeam up top. It's exactly like I had envisioned it coming out. So it's good and sturdy. Yeah, there might be a little movement, but nothing like what I've done in the past. I used thicker materials this time, better gauge, and actually the tray that came with the Auxbeam unit. It's worked out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. Fully accessible here in the front to be able to add accessories, change fuses, do whatever I want. Connect the power up over here. And we have the trigger wire all ready to go. Not connected yet, of course, because I'm not powered or anything and I don't want it on yet. But everything is where I want it to be so far. So next up, I think, and of course the control panel here is sitting here waiting. It will plug into this jack right here. You pull off the cover, of course, and it will feed up through here in the front. Now I have to get power to this thing, so that means I gotta make up a cable and connect that up. So I think I'm gonna maybe tackle that next. All right, catch you guys up. Everything is wired up. It's not been energized yet, which means I haven't connected the circuit over there. But let's take a quick look. We've got the positive on the red, we've got negative, and I grounded it right down there. I don't know if you can see it. And then I've got the trigger wire that runs into the fuse box where I showed you earlier. I've got the control panel inside the truck plugged in and hooked up, ready to go. Over here on this side, we've got the circuit breaker. Everything is hooked up. We've got power to the positive, and then power here runs over to the fuse board, if you will. So what's left? Well, I got to trip this breaker here, and then we got to jump in, start the truck, and see if the screen inside lights up. And then I've got to get some electrical accessories to plug into the unit here that I can run off of that switch, and of course put the cover back on. So we're going to do this live in the video. Let's go ahead and first I'll put this little cover back on here. There we go. Now let's go ahead, trip the breaker, see what happens. Hopefully nothing. And nothing happened. I forget if there's any kind of light on the board. It'd be nice if there was a light. Of course it shouldn't be on because the trigger wire has not activated the system. Then we're going to go ahead and put the cover on, and that should just snap in right over here. I don't know if you'll actually hear anything, but that's on. Of course I got to put the fuse cover back on that side, and then the cover for the box itself. Let's go ahead, put that on. Hopefully there, nice. Doesn't that look good? I think it came out really well with the red bracketry too. Sometimes it's just the little touches, right? I mean, I could have left that just metal color, silver or whatever, but it looks much better that way. And then let's go ahead and put the fuse lid back on. Oops, throwing you guys around. Make sure that's on. And notice everything fits. That was by design, right? I paid attention to the width of the brackets and stuff to make sure I'd be able to put, you know, covers and things back on. So next up, we're going to jump in the truck and see if the switch lights up, and I hope it does. Okay, we're in the truck. We're going to fire it up. That's what it looks like with no power, or the truck being off, I should say. Let's go ahead and start it up, and I am going to push the start button as opposed to the radio button, so for those of you who are on my Facebook group. And there you go. We're lit up and golden. I like that. Notice the screen, no air codes, any of that stuff. Make sure we get the radio off. There we go. And I've got a nice dim blue light. Now, on some of these, and I don't recall if I have the version where you can actually change the lights with the app. I think so. But if you have something on, there, I've activated that one. there's nothing on it, of course. And then you turn it off. You can go all off or all on. I think you have to hold it down. I don't have any connected, so maybe it's smarter than me. But looks nice, and I think almost OEM there. Obviously it's not. But nice project. If you're into electrical stuff, it's a fun project. I have fun doing this. And I did do it a little bit differently than I've done it on other trucks, so it's not the same video as what I've done. I found a new entry point, for example, through the firewall, made different trays that I've done before, and on both sides, and a couple other things. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and if you have some sort of a switch, doesn't have to be Auxbeam, but they're, I think, the best out there in my experience. I've had several of them, and I've never had any issue with them. So one more quick look at the dashboard. You can see we've got no error messages.